Hey Cancer family, happy birthday season to you. It's Romy here. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. If you're new, and welcome. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. This is your July 2020 tarot card reading. My readings are general. They are designed to give you intuitive insights for your own unique soul journey. You might like to also check out your rising and your moon sign for a more comprehensive overview. And if you are enjoying my work and it's resonating, you can join me for the extended version of the reading, following the description in the box underneath the video or over on my website, romywyser.com. Okay, Cancer, big season for you. Let's go ahead and see what's coming out. So excited to be doing your reading for you this month, Cancer, in your solar returns, and also to celebrate the fact that we have 2 new moons in your sign this year, which is wonderful. The first one on the 21st of June with that powerful solar eclipse, and the second one coming in on the 20th of this month. So almost giving us a second opportunity to look at those areas of our lives where we're wanting to initiate something new, to invite in a fresh new perspective and a new beginning. So we open up your reading this month, Cancer, with the card of Justice. This is the painted tarot deck. It's a brand new deck that's just out, really beautiful if you want to check it out. So this card of Justice is bringing in this idea of balance. And I love this because as I'm filming, we're just right in the solstice energies, you know, that moment where everything is getting recalibrated. And of course, that's what the eclipse season is helping us to do as well. It's about that time of transition and sorting things so that we can really decide what needs to shift, what needs to change, and, you know, come to some point of harmonizing in our thoughts, in our mindset, within our hearts, and just the way that we're approaching things, the way we're moving through this season. Card of Justice is also linked into the sign of Libra. But what I'm seeing as you're moving into this season, Cancer, is actually a level of diplomacy, in all honesty. You know, you're getting a real charge from your solar returns, and it's affording you, I believe, the perspective to understand and to be able to look at what a lot of others are experiencing right now, and, you know, rather than trying to wade in and, you know, get really judgmental about different situations, you're able to see lots of different sides, and there's just a little bit more of a pragmatic approach. And I feel that you are trying to kind of keep the peace in many instances, you know, whether that's within your key relationships, family dynamics, or, you know, things that are going on within the work environment for you. But I also see this as really something that you have been looking for in terms of an outcome, coming in with a fair and just resolution. Now, let's temper that by saying that during a time when we're working with all of these retrogrades, we're working with the eclipses, it's not necessarily what your expectation may have been. And it's one of those instances where I would say that Spirit are giving you what you need, not necessarily what you want. But the card of Justice for me does indicate that what's coming through will end up being favourable for you in the long term. So I want you to really keep that understanding as we move through this season and things start to unfold in different ways for you, okay? We have a full moon in Capricorn, which is the third of this trilogy of eclipses taking place on the 5th of July. We also have Saturn retrograde dipping back into the sign of Capricorn. Now, this eclipse season is drawing to a close. The series of eclipses that we've been working with on the Cancer and Capricorn axis. So you can also see this as a real point of culmination for you. And of course, that Capricorn energy, particularly for Cancer rising, working in your 7th house of partnership. So I think it's going to have a strong and firm focus around relationships for you. Here we have the Two of Cups. So, you know, what it seems is that you are really looking to see how can I bring more balance, more unity into these key relationships in my life. What does that look like now? And what decisions and conclusions am I coming to? Perhaps there's been a series of revelations that have brought you to a point where, you know, I've been getting this kind of energy of like us reaching a crisis point in July. Now, when I say crisis, I don't want you to kind of, you know, to take from that the kind of more negative aspect of the chaos and it feeling like out of control. But what I'm more am being directed to express is this crisis point is kind of leading you to an absolute moment of certainty about what you want to change and what is unfolding and what that means for you. And so actually I see it as incredibly cathartic, incredibly clearing, and actually giving you a tremendous source of power. Now you're already working with your solar returns energy in Cancer season. So what I'm going to say to you is that from a relationship perspective, I do see you being able to find the right energy, the right mindset, the right way to communicate how you feel on an emotional level that is coming across with enough balance, with enough almost like impartiality, that things are not getting too explosive. Now, that might not make sense right now for some of you. If you're watching this reading just as it comes out, and perhaps you're still in the fray of a lot of this powerful eclipse energy, but this is a reading that's going to take you all the way through July. So for you to understand the context of this, make sure you revisit just so that you can check back in and see how this continues to unfold for you. So what we're seeing is the opportunity for coming together on the same page with somebody, because I just see between both Justice and the Two of Cups almost like a synergy coming in. And I think for some of you that's going to be important. I feel like what you need is this understanding and this shared vision. So whether you're looking for that from a partner, whether it's needing that in terms of a work context, but it's just, I feel at the moment, Cancer, there's somebody that you're looking to try to find that sense of common ground. So King of Swords coming in here, and again, it could be representative of an air sign, so it may well be a Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius that we're dealing with. But what I also really love about this energy coming through with the King of Swords is that, again, it's like this laser precision, this clarity, this almost kind of surgical approach to sort of saying, okay, let's really dig deep. Let's get to the root of the problem here. Let's get to the root of what has happened or what's been going on, so that we can find some kind of favourable outcome for everybody in this. So this is how I see you kind of taking control of different situations this month, Cancer, and it's going to really serve you. I think if you can take on some of the energy that king is going to deliver into your reading for July, it's going to be one of saying, let's think about the big picture. Let's look at the strategy. Let's look at the blueprint of how do we get from here to here. And I think what's really interesting is as we kind of close out this time of the Cancer Capricorn eclipse, and you've been working with all of these themes, you've come to this point of culmination. And of course, we're reaching the full moon in Capricorn, so we need to revisit what was happening at the new moon in Capricorn earlier this year. And that really preceded a lot of, what happened in terms of lockdown and the pandemic. So you're kind of going back to a lot of the thoughts, the ideas, the goals that you had kind of before this whole season erupted in such an unexpected way. And in that, you're having the opportunity to really look at some positive changes and start to think about where you want to integrate not only your knowing and your understanding, but how that has changed, perhaps what the strategy looks like. So undoubtedly, there's going to be some details that need to be readdressed. So I think the King of Swords, again, going to be really helpful to support your way of thinking from that perspective. For some of you, this may well be about relationships. Perhaps there's some discussions in and around commitment or legalities connected to that. Of course, during eclipse season, we can have powerful endings and closures. If there have been separations or even, perhaps discussions around divorce proceedings or coming together, looking at where you're going to be signing agreements in terms of shared properties, even business premises. Of course, Cancerian energy absolutely rules that sense of home, doesn't it, and property. So here we have the Ace of Coins coming in, really beautiful energy for you to be working with. And I think, again, just highlights the fact that you have these two powerful new moons in your sign this month. So think of it like this, right? On the 21st, whatever is going on in terms of the themes, obviously has a powerful kind of contextual backdrop with the eclipse and solstice. So it's like you have a lot of those intentions that you want to get off the ground, and perhaps you're slightly held back, or there are other things that come up out of nowhere, or some unexpected things, or something that needs to be readdressed or rebalanced before you can move forward. And then by the time we come into that middle part of the month, as we approach the next new moon, then you're really ready to put something into motion. And by this time, we're also going to have Mercury direct in your sign. So that's going to be able to support your communication, the way that you are expressing what you need, what you want, and putting plans into motion, starting to look at the way you can relaunch things or come back to something that has had to be put on hold for some time. Now, we have a few oppositions happening astrologically through the month. The Sun opposes Jupiter on the 14th. The Sun opposes Pluto on the 15th. So there is some interesting, again, these moments of kind of contrast and crisis, but I see them as being really potentially beneficial for you to get absolutely focused on the one thing that does matter. I don't think it's a month, Cancer, where you're going to be able to cope with having multiple scenarios on the table. I think what it's going to do is try to focus your attention towards saying, what is the one thing that absolutely must take place this month in order for me to see some progress and some movement. And, that may well play into you saying, okay, right, this month I need to prioritize my relationship, or I need to prioritize my finances, or there's this creative vision or something about my work that needs to be addressed. Ace of Coins for me is also about the vitality in terms of our own health and well-being, our physicality. So again, you're maybe regaining some balance on that front as well. So if lockdown has kind of forced you to one spectrum or the other, in terms of the way that you've been nurturing your needs and nourishing yourself, then again, we're coming into a time where you're getting more balance with that. This also talks to me about a brand new opportunity coming. And look at this, beautiful. Right at the center of your reading, we have the Wheel of Fortune. So fate playing a strong hand in this idea, this opportunity, or this fresh new beginning that is set to emerge for you. I think for some of you, there may well, be an opportunity coming through Cancer season to actually meet up and have new connections come into your life. I have this sense of some of you kind of having some fairly synchronistic, unexpected meetings that, could well end up in developing some new friendships or even new love connections for you, which could feel quite exciting. Of course, the Wheel of Fortune, does deliver things in a very unexpected way. And remembering that we have the backdrops of this eclipse energy, it is important to kind of roll with it as much as possible. I think you're being invited this season, Cancer. Remember, we said, how do you keep your balance? How do you remain kind of impartial, not trying to almost jump too quickly to conclusions about things that are coming in, because actually I also want to say to you, I don't think it's the full story. So careful that you don't quickly come to your own set of conclusions and expectations about what something represents, or a conversation that's had and what somebody means by it, because actually I think when we move a little bit further into the month of July, more details are coming. It's almost like I see this Wheel of Fortune as like a bit of a magnet, and it's drawing in lots of different people, lots of different ideas, lots of different resources and situations. So there's more that needs to be added to the equation. So I think that you're being asked not to kind of run away with yourself too quickly at the beginning of the month, and just allow for a little bit of time to unfold before you start to instigate some powerful action with regards to things. Now, that full moon in Capricorn has a aspect that's trining Uranus, which does bring some positive and exciting changes. So I think for some of you, again, what you're set to see is perhaps a wish or a desire or something that you've been longing for some time, kind of peeking out from behind the curtain. And that's the phrase I want to give, right? We have 9 of Cups coming through here. But this kind of vision of just showing itself, just revealing itself, not in terms of it's fully manifested and it's right in front of you, but you're feeling the energy of it. You're starting to pick up some little signs. And remember, that ace energy is about the potential. It's just the beginning. Something's just about to be birthed. So don't feel that it's by any means like a showing or revealing itself in terms of its finality. I also want to say it's important that you take that energy on for yourself as well. So of course, as we look at the way that we've been working to return home to ourselves, how all of these different retrograde energies have impacted us and changed us and demanded so much of our kind of critical thinking in terms of what's unfolding in the world, and really to ask those difficult questions. It's also important that you recognize, as you change and as you seek to become more educated, to become more whole, to be more compassionate and kind and respectful of yourself and others, that you also recognize that you are at the beginning of a brand new cycle with that. So again, it's like, the changes that are coming in will take time to integrate, and it's about a process of showing up consistently. Now, the thing with the Nine of Cups energy, it does deliver that beautiful moment of emotional satisfaction, doesn't it? And sometimes, we are wanting something so bad, and then it shows up and it can kind of almost derail us from other priorities. And remember, just earlier in the reading, I said to you, just make sure that you are not trying to kind of split your energy across so many things. So I think there's a little bit of a cautionary vibe that I'm picking up this month for you, Cancer, that says you may well receive something that you really want or that you've really been longing for. Just careful that you don't end up completely losing focus and putting all of your energy into that one thing. So maybe it's the relationship that's kind of got back on track, or somebody new who's come in, and all of a sudden it's the sort of embarking of a kind of honeymoon kind of period, which, you may well need just to boost your emotional energy. Absolutely wonderful. But if you have been making and striving for progress in other areas of your life, remember that card of Justice is about the balance, Cancer. That's what we're really seeking this month. If we're reaching this critical point, this crisis point, for transition into this next chapter, for you to really be able to see how you are going to be reimagining your life to make it brighter, bolder, more in alignment with who you are and who you're becoming. So the card that we have coming in here is the Three of Coins, and it's important because we're in a time of building, we're in a time of creation, we're in a time of using your resources wisely. That includes your time, Cancer. That includes your emotions. That includes your finances. That includes the ideas that you have. What I want to say as well is, for some of you with regards to your work and career, all your ideas don't need to land this month, right? What I'm going to say to you is keep something back, hold something back, Remember this energy of kind of revealing. You don't need to kind of rush back into the marketplace or rush back into kind of getting something going again and feel like you need to kind of over-deliver to try and catch up where you might have missed out. So there's something about that energy also coming through, and just saying take the time to kind of feel your way forward, The energy has changed in the landscape surrounding you. You have changed. The people that you work with have changed. Your clients, the people who you maybe want to now connect with might have been... might have shifted, you might be expanding that, or, looking at a completely new direction. So I'm just going to say, just have a little bit of mindfulness around that. Now, that said, here we have Eight of Wands coming into your reading. So again, there's a quickening. And actually, as we see this beneath the wheel, what I want to say is that some of the events that are going to unfold this month for you are going to happen at lightning speed. Okay, even though we have this retrograde energy still around us, I think the eclipses are just going boom, boom, boom. It's just like, it's kind of a non-stop roller coaster. If you're not careful and you're not grounded and you're not clear about what your priorities are, it's going to be very easy for you to get kind of swept up in that. And then we have this slight energy that can happen sometimes with that Nine of Cups, where it dissipates very quickly. It comes and then it goes. It's like you think you're onto a great thing, but because your energy is so scattered and disparate, you're not able to anchor and root it and kind of bed it in. Remember, it needs time to be nurtured. The wheel suggesting the cycles of time that need to come into the forward motion of what's happening in your life. That said, I think your King of Swords is also giving you that discernment and that kind of critical thinking about the way that you're looking at things. So I do see you being able to handle, the way that the energy is going to twist and turn, and some of the fast changes and communications that is set to arrive for you. Okay, the card of the Lovers. So, there is a real focus around romance in this reading for you, Cancer. And I think for some of you, the opportunity to really find some sweetness and some closeness with people that matter in your life. What I'm also seeing with this card of the Lovers, and I love the beautiful sun that's kind of rising. I guess you could look at it as the moon as well in this particular card, but it's this illumination and the charge. That's kind of what I'm deriving from it. It's just so powerful, and that absolutely is being emulated with your energy. You are really rising in terms of your influence, in terms of the way that you are drawing things towards you. And I need you to be really aware of that, because even if you think you're a little bit down and out, or some of the aspects of your life haven't started to merge together in the way that you expected them to, you have an opportunity this month, Cancer, to actually harness some of these energies and make them work for you. Now, if you are not in alignment and you feel scattered and you feel like you're not in control and the world is against you, that's when that kind of Wheel of Fortune energy can come in and feel like it's tearing through your life and uprooting everything. I don't think that's going to be the experience for everybody, but if it is what you are going through and it feels more challenging, understand that there's so many anchor points here. Your Justice, your King of Swords, these are powerful balancing energies, and connected into that sign of air. It's all about balancing the mind, balancing your thought forms, okay? Now, of course, in Cancer season, we're all about the feelings, we're all about the emotions and sensing our way forward. And as Mercury is retrograde, it can feel really hazy, it can feel confusing, it can feel that we don't quite know where we stand with particular situations or particular people. So we have to return to the self and do the work within. We have to look at what we can meaningfully stay in control over, and that's absolutely the thoughts that we think and what we choose to express our energy towards. What I see is that there's a tremendous source of creativity and energy that's available to you through this season, and that can work really in your favor in terms of getting people to understand your perspective and have a shared vision. I think from a fiscal perspective, we have the beginning of a balancing and a stabilizing, okay? For some of you, I also think you're having a really wonderful opportunity to put something into motion that's going to do incredibly well for you. I think there are new partnerships and connections that are forming, and that they are going to be incredibly important. Your oracle card, just to reflect this reading, is the Peacock. Raise your standards. Okay, so where do you need to raise your standards, Cancer? In your relationships, in the way that you see yourself, in your value, in what you're looking for in terms of that work or career, in how you want your home life to feel. The thing with the peacock is that it's unafraid to show its magnificence. If you think about when it stands and the full kind of plumage of all those beautiful feathers and the vibrancy, they're so royal and noble, and they hold themselves with such grace. So there's something about you being unafraid to step out and really not only raise your standards, but also just share who you are and be proud of that, and I love that energy being incredibly supportive as you look to make the changes and you reach this kind of critical point, this crisis point in your life through this incredible year in 2020 to really understand what that's going to mean for you moving forward. Because what I see is that this is absolutely a month that you could completely transform the way that people see you and the way that you see yourself. And that perception is everything, because the minute that you start to vibrate with a frequency that is of your true value, of just what you have to offer, and it's coming from a place that's rooted in self-love, that's rooted in this kind of deep understanding of knowing that you are worthy, knowing that you are here as this divine soul. And as this season has helped you to return home to yourself, you're able to kind of project that out, and it influences everything and everyone in a really positive way for you. It's your experience that's set to come. We have this beautiful solar eclipse that as I'm filming this, which is for June 21st, and it's known as the Ring of Fire, and it kind of makes me feel like that when I'm looking at the Wheel of Fortune. So I think there's an incredible tipping point with that Cancer new moon solar eclipse that's really helping support you in some area of your life. And here we have your astrological card Jupiter, abundance, but again I just want to kind of link to this lightning bolt that's coming through. So you could really have this powerful moment of awakening, of epiphany around this time that just says something's changed in me, and it might just be subtle or it might be absolutely significant in terms of what I am now going to address in my life. Jupiter, of course, bringing in levels of abundance in all areas of one's life, not just fiscally, but it's about having the abundance of generosity, the abundance of love, the abundance of friendship, of community, of joy, of celebration. So I think you're also being invited to set your vision and to lock it in powerfully to the idea of abundance in all of its forms. All of its forms. I love here that it links to the number 7, which of course, is the 7th month as we film this for July, linking into your Cancerian energy really beautifully as well, Cancer. The sun's going to enter Leo on the 22nd of this month. So as we then approach into that, which is going to be second house for particularly Cancer rising, again, we're dealing with these themes of value, aren't we? We're looking at how the material world is reflected on your internal emotional landscape and how you're feeling more secure. What I'm seeing in this reading is that actually you have the opportunity through a series of choices and decisions that are going to be available to you, new ideas and inspirations and connections to actually align that internal sense of worthiness and value and start to see it mirrored in other areas of your life. So here we have the cosmic heart, devotion, potency, make your life a moving prayer. I love the idea of devotion, and actually I think if we look at the fact that we have both the Two of Cups and the Lovers coming through, there is this beautiful sense of devotion that's actually coming out of your main reading anyway. So be devoted to yourself first and foremost, Cancer, but also think closely about the people and the things in your life that you're also choosing to devote your time, energy, resources to. Now is the time to review that really powerfully, to make those decisions about what's going to stay with you in the next chapter, looking out ahead. King of Swords wants you to address things over the next few years. He wants you to have a game plan, right? He wants a game plan. He wants you to be open to the possibility of things changing, right? Wheel of Fortune, absolutely. Fate is going to step in and direct the path profoundly, but we still need something that is going to help us to anchor in and know what we're searching for, know what we're aiming for. You don't want to be building and creating something without really having that firm understanding of why are you doing it? Does it match up with your heart energy, the cosmic heart? This is very divine feminine energy, of course, linking to you really powerfully, Cancer. Making your life a moving prayer, moving through your life with that sense of, am I aligning with my true soul self right now? Are the decisions I'm making in this relationship, is the way that I'm looking at what's unfolding around me, really helping me to grow, or is it keeping me stuck and pulling me back into old ways of being and old ways of thinking? I think these are some really beautiful energies to work with. I think there's an incredible amount of positivity and movement here. I think it's going to be important to ground yourself, because there is a lot of what I think is kind of very unexpected situations that could arise that could completely kind of take you off, and that may be helpful for some of you. You might need that redirection. Eclipses are wonderful for that. But I do think it's going to be important to try to make sure that at least at the start of the month you have a vision of what it is that you're looking to gain. So if you've enjoyed the reading, please do drop me a like and a comment. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. What I'm going to do now, Cancer, is go ahead and pull us some clarifying cards for this reading. So this is going to be for the extended. What we do there is we talk for another 20 minutes and we go a little bit deeper basically into this reading, and we will pull out some more messages. You also receive a soul guide as part of that extended reading that will give you some journal prompts. So what I want to do is just invite you to ask a question. So if I have not answered anything specific, this is a general reading, remember, for the month of July, then think about that question now, and I will pull a couple of cards and we will focus on that in the extended reading. Okay, so I'll just pop them down there. And now I'm just going to go ahead and clarify these cards. So just beginning with this Justice card. Okay, we've got another Three of Pentacles coming in here. So it could well be around the area of work that we're looking at with this. Ten of Wands. Queen of Cups. Okay. I feel this is you, Cancer. Do see you perhaps taking on a little too much this month. Remember I talked about the prioritization. Okay, King of Pentacles coming in with the Two of Cups there. Could well be an earth sign that you have a real focus around as well. Virgo, Capricorn or Taurus. Somebody who... Five of Wands. Maybe there has been some conflict with, we'll go into that in a little bit more detail. Hierophant, another card of Taurus here. Issues of commitment coming up there as well. Okay, King of Swords bringing through Three of Swords. I actually like the Three of Swords with that King because to be honest, it reaffirms that message of clarity for me. Three of Swords just brings everything up into the light. It brings everything to the surface so that you know exactly what you're dealing with. Seven of Pentacles here. And I think that's going to be important for you this month, Cancer, in order to actually make some progress and see a way forward. You kind of need to know what you're dealing with, yeah? Queen of Wands. Fire sign might be involved here. Aries, Sagittarius or Leo. Okay, Ace clarified with a Knight here. Card of Death with Scorpio influence, but makes sense as we're just working our way through this eclipse season and the profound change that's coming as a result of that. Temperance, okay. Powerful cards in the center of your reading this month, Cancer. Wow. Empress, Hanged Man, and the Wheel. And the Devil. Wow, okay, so there's a lot to read into that for our extended in terms of some of the events that are going to land for you. It could just be one single event, of course, that's focused around. Money's certainly looking a lot more favourable for many of you this month, Cancer. Yeah. A lot of energy coming in as well. I love this for you, this burst of energy. Wow, yeah, the Sun, the Eight of Wands, and just this beautiful scene of dancing with the Four of Wands. Something's going to give you that burst of energy, you know. I do feel it's relating to a situation. Wow, another Two of Cups. Okay. All right, let's just pull a couple more for these oracles. Okay, Justice again. The World. And Ten of Swords. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much, Cancer, for tuning in. I really appreciate you. I look forward to continuing the narrative. If you want to join me for the extended, the link is in the description box underneath the video or over on my website, which is romywyser.com. I'm going to wish you infinite blessings for your beautiful birthday season, and I will catch up with you again soon.